1. Transforming Trauma into Healing. The Art of Bianca L. McGraw and Bree Gilliam. 2. Exploring the synergy between art and psychotherapy. A comprehensive review. 1. Transforming Trauma into Healing. The Art of Bianca L. McGraw and Bree Gilliam. Art has an incredible power to transform trauma into healing, and two local artists are shining examples of this phenomenon. In Rochester, New York, Bianca L. McGraw and Bree Gilliam are channeling their personal pain into profound artistic expressions. McGraw is a survivor of not one, but two mass shootings, while Gilliam faced the heartbreaking loss of her father to cancer. Rather than remaining silent about their experiences, both women have embraced various forms of art, painting, poetry, and public installations, to not only heal themselves but also to foster healing within their community. #### Key Insights. Bianca L. McGraw and Bree Gilliam utilize their art as a means of healing from their respective traumas, one stemming from mass shootings and the other from the death of a parent due to cancer. Their artistic endeavors serve as a bridge between personal suffering and public advocacy, igniting essential discussions about violence, grief, and resilience. Through their creative expressions, both women identify as survivors, using their talents to uplift and connect with their communities. Bianca L. McGraw's artistic journey began with a simple brush dipped in coffee, inspired by a haunting question that arose after she survived two mass shootings, one in her hometown of Chicago and another at Tops Friendly Markets in Buffalo. "How do you turn pain into purpose?" she pondered. "There was a mass shooting at the Tops. I survived a campus shooting in 2008, where we lost 5 students. I decided to turn to art. For me, art is a form of healing. It's like a band-aid for the soul," McGraw explained. On the other hand, Bree Gilliam channels her grief through her artwork, which stems from the profound loss of her father to cancer. She describes how the canvas became a medium for expressing emotions that words often fail to capture. "I lost my father in 2021, and it completely turned my world upside down. I created a series of pieces dedicated to his memory," Gilliam shared. She added, "Many people approached me, expressing how my art resonated with their own feelings of loss and grief." Through her public coffee-themed paintings, McGraw not only invites dialogue but also encourages introspection. She draws a striking parallel between two deep-seated cravings in American society: the addiction to coffee and the troubling addiction to gun violence. "There's a nuanced comparison to be made between coffee addiction and America's gun addiction in the context of my artwork," McGraw elaborated. When discussing violence, she emphasizes that the type of violence is secondary to the weapon used. McGraw articulates her concerns about America's obsession with gun violence, stating, "It feels like there's an addiction to firearms, a reluctance to regulate them, and a failure to keep them out of the hands of those who shouldn't have access. The metaphor that resonates with me is coffee addiction. Both coffee and guns are mass-produced, and both can have serious consequences." Gilliam shares a similar sense of urgency in her artistic endeavors, not only to express her own feelings, but also to amplify the voices of those who have been overlooked. "I strive to advocate for individuals whose stories have been ignored. I make it a point to understand their circumstances and incorporate that understanding into my work," Gilliam stated. These two remarkable women are not just artists. They are survivors and, above all, healers within their communities. Their brushes articulate what words often cannot convey. "I definitely consider myself a survivor. I faced some of my darkest days, and while it can be challenging, survival is always possible. You can always find a way through," Gilliam expressed with conviction. McGraw added, "You must acknowledge that something significant has happened, but you also have to recognize that you survived. Even if your world feels completely dark, opening just one blind can be the first step toward healing." This powerful narrative raises important questions. How can art serve as a tool for healing in your life? What role do you think creativity plays in addressing societal issues? We invite you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. 2. Exploring the synergy between art and psychotherapy. A comprehensive review. Art and psychotherapy. Two worlds that, when brought together, have the power to transform lives. But is the integration as smooth and universal as some hope? The merging of artistic creativity and psychotherapeutic techniques has captured the attention of researchers and clinicians worldwide, opening new doors for emotional healing, cognitive growth, and even restoring social function for those in need. This dynamic blend of disciplines is at the core of what we now call art therapy, a practice that goes far beyond painting or sculpting, using the artistic process itself as a catalyst for mental wellness. But here's where it gets truly fascinating. A comprehensive review, carried out by experts from Nanjing Forestry University, sifted through nearly 2 decades, 2005 to 2024, of art therapy literature, analyzing 1,799 carefully selected studies from the reputable Web of Science database. They employed advanced bibliometric tools like Sitespace to map out trends and insights. So what did they uncover? Let's break it down in simple, relatable terms. At a basic level, the research charted how art therapy publications have evolved over time, noting significant shifts, from a slow start, through years of steady progress, to an exciting phase of rapid growth in recent times. In fact, if you ever assumed art therapy was a niche concept, think again. The field is booming. The regional spread is equally noteworthy. A staggering 63% of core research originates from the United States and the United Kingdom alone, marking Europe and America as leaders in this innovative intersection. But why are other regions lagging behind? Is it a matter of cultural attitudes, or do funding and education play bigger roles? Here's something to ponder, and perhaps debate in the comments. Looking beyond mere numbers, the study reveals that early research focused mainly on the basics, testing whether creative interventions could actually make a psychological difference. As the years went by, attention shifted to integrating modern technology and probing deeper into crucial ethical questions. For example, how do digital art tools change the therapist-client relationship? What about privacy and cultural sensitivity when working with diverse groups? These are complexities often overlooked, yet vital for practitioners and policymakers alike. Of course, the integration of art therapy doesn't exist in a vacuum. Its influence ripples across psychology, medicine, and rehabilitation, illustrating that true innovation often happens at the intersection of disciplines. And this is the part most people miss. Even with such impressive advances, major challenges remain. The research points to significant gaps. Cross-cultural theories are still underdeveloped. Practical guidelines sometimes lag behind technological advances, and groups with unique needs often fall outside the research spotlight. It raises a tough, controversial question. Is the promise of art therapy truly being realized everywhere, or just in select, well-resourced areas? To sum up, art therapy continues to advance as both a science and an art. Progress in theory and application is undeniable, yet the journey is far from over. There's an urgent need for more balanced development, especially to ensure cultural relevance and wider access. Where do you stand? Do you see art therapy as an elite practice for the few, or a universal tool for mental health? What do you think is holding back its global reach? Join the debate below. Your perspective might even challenge the experts.